of your YouTube channel?
Um.
I say review, it's really more of a takedown.
Okay.
Really more of a roast.
Savage. Okay.
But like, you know how roasts are normally in good humor?
Good humor, that, yeah.
This is more like, you know those people, you know famous YouTubers say like the comments that really bother them aren't they're just pure hate comments, they're the ones where people call out something that they know themselves to be true.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to the Scrambled Checksum podcasts. I'm one of your hosts, Kieran, who this week is actually considering replacing my co-host Ethan with one of those text-to-voice AI generators that so much YouTube shovelware uses, because he's only gone and started his own YouTube channel. So Ethan, joining me today, would you like to tell us this treachery that you've committed on me?
Treachery?
Treachery.
I mean, you're welcome.
This channel that you've started that affects your participation in this podcast, absolutely 0%.
Treachery.
And if anything, will
word.
probably give you editing skills that you will put to use on this channel.
Maybe, yeah. It might.
You
never know. It might actually be mild. I hope it's mildly successful, and it might actually drive some listeners to this podcast.
You can bring in some more traffic for us, or organic engagement.
Or just any traffic would be nice. I mean,
yeah, you could do a sponsor spot for us. So, would you like to tell everyone how you've betrayed me?
I'm not. I feel like we have different
Betrayal is
I'm not sure.
Betrayal's an ugly word.
So
backstabbing has been bandied around.
I'm not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I quite agree with the sentiment here, but I've started a YouTube channel. Well, started's probably not quite it. I'm in the process of starting a YouTube channel. I've shot like 1 and a bit videos, but neither have been uploaded. One has been edited, and I've claimed the channel name. I've got the channel exists, but there's nothing on it. And I've bought a domain. Actually, two domains technically, a .com and a .co.uk. So I'm very much in the pre-prod, not quite ready to launch yet.
Hopefully, by the time this episode goes up, the channel will be live, so I can put a link to the channel in your debut video in this description.
To be fair, this goes out in like a month, doesn't it?
Exactly. You've got like probably longer. You've got like 5 or 6 weeks.
If not, Kieran's just soft launched it, and like every other startup, I'll have no actual meaningful product for many years to come.
It'll be the humane pin all over again.
Yeah.
I'll be just hyping you up. I'll tell you what, that'll give you a crushing deadline to work towards, where if you haven't got your channel live and the first video uploaded by the time this episode goes out, I'll just put like, Ethan said he was starting a channel, but he was too lazy.
He's too lazy. It turns out he's just too useless. He's
too lazy. Had the video already made and was too weak, too timid to upload it.
Yeah.
He just gave up on it. He was scared of the haters, and he gave up on his dreams. And speaking of haters, Ethan thinks I'm going to be doing a critique of his edited video in this intro. I don't know why I started this bit, but I told him before we went live that I was going to be critiquing and hating on his channel.
I was waiting to shit all over it.
Yeah, I've seen like quite a bit of the edited one. It's very good. Can highly recommend. But the actual thing I wanted to talk about was very briefly was speaking about AI replacement co-hosts. I don't know if you've seen this, but I just wanted to briefly say I got a YouTube ad the other day on a YouTube like sponsor spot, and the guy was doing an ad for like a voice to AI service, and it was like a prompt to video service. So you just put in a prompt, and it would like write a crappy script, and then AI voice it, and then grab a bunch of crappy stock footage and basically make a bad YouTube video for you.
I feel like I've heard about this, but I can't remember where. Yeah,
I forget what it's called. There's like, I think there's multiple, because I'm sure I've seen an ad for one previously that had a different name. But I'm like, hang on a minute, this is the worst ad activation ever, because like, the guy makes YouTube videos, clearly not with this product, so they can't even do the usual sponsor nonsense where they say like, and before they sponsored me, I
use story blocks all the time, actually. Yeah, I use it for my Instagram posts, my DMs. I use it for my PowerPoint presentations all the time.
Yeah, it's like, oh, and I was thrilled when NordVPN reached out to me, because I've actually been a customer of theirs for years. Show me the goddamn receipts.
Yeah,
then.
Show me the
Prove
receipts.
It.
I use it all the time when I go abroad to
show me.
No, I use it all the time to watch shows that are geo-blocked in my country. Like, that hasn't worked on most VPNs for like fucking ages.
if you're too afraid,
Tell me you don't use the product without telling me you don't use the product.
if you're too afraid of Netflix banning your account because you don't want to upload unedited footage of you using it to circumvent their TOS, then you've got no right to be saying that that's what you use your VPN for in a sponsor spot that you're getting paid for. If I don't see hours of unedited footage sped up of you using the VPN to do all these things that you say you were going to do, that we can analyze for cuts, then I don't believe you.
But personally, Kieran, I only believe stories about YouTubers shilling sponsor spots for products they don't even use. If I find that news through this week's sponsor, Ground News, which is the only way to get balanced news, and it's made by a NASA engineer, by the way, so it must be good.
So is that razor that I've also been using for many years that I've forgotten the name.
Yeah, that's made by Henson Shaving.
That's it. Yeah. That aluminium.
Yeah.
Made from solid aerospace grade.
I don't use it for down there though. That for when I'm using.
No, for that I use Manscaped.
Manscaped, yeah, of course, yeah. Or I'm pleased. Gillette, I've noticed, have recently started trying to. Copy Manscaped as well. I keep getting an advert for that one now as well.
And I'm pleased they reached out to us because we've both been, we often talk about how we use their products and how we've used them for many years.
I'm smooth as a baby's bottom down there thanks to Manscaped.
Yep. And I'm going to do and here's me doing a montage of me out in the doing some garden work, so that because I can't show the actual product being used.
I feel like just for the purposes of any legal ramifications, we're not actually genuinely alleging that any YouTubers have faked using any particular sponsor's product for the purposes of receiving money. We're not at all alleging that. This is purely satirical. Also, we're not sponsored by any of these people.
Yeah, none of these sponsors are real. But yeah,
and we're also not questioning the quality of the products. It's purely satirical.
I'm sure if a YouTuber says that the product's of good quality, then they're beyond reproach.
I haven't used any of them.
So. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I just thought it was weird that I saw this AI video creation thing that made absolute YouTube shovelware, and I'm like, but this guy clearly doesn't use it. And he's saying about how great it is and how much time it'll save you in making videos. I'm like, well, why don't you use it then? Why do you sit and record your own voice and edit your own videos?
Because he is an AI.
I mean, I'm starting to think that.
I think we might be AIs. I mean, we can't really prove it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, these days, even if we did a face reveal, it could be fake at this point. So
yeah, I mean, we'll just do a sponsor spot next week for one. But yeah, I just thought that was very strange, and I wanted to touch upon it. And I think speaking of face reveals, before we go to that extent, you had a bit of a rant to say about our listeners, right?
Oh, it was only a brief one. So I was I've been doing a fair amount of gaming in the last few weeks with a group of I say friends. I thought they were my friends until they've tragically let me down. Basically we in this group, it's a couple of people who I've known for a really, really long time. I went to school with them, and then one of them has some friends that they met through their various creative exploits on the internet, who are in the US, and one of them, I'm not going to use names because let's call them American number one. One of them mentioned the other week that they just basically watch us screen share the game. They don't play the games and they tend to draw while they said that they basically treat it like we're their podcast basically while they're drawing, because they don't.
Kind of like a Twitch stream.
Yeah, but they're kind of they're kind of joining in the conversation here and there, but they're basically mostly just kind of lurk and
they're like a Twitch viewer, but if they could communicate via voice chat.
Yeah, effectively, yeah, that's what they were saying, and then my other friend who I've known for ages was like, "Oh yeah, you see, Ethan, you do get podcast listeners. You see, you got someone listening to you right now." And I was like, "Yeah, but not on the podcast that I actually put all my life and soul and heart into." and then she was like, "Oh, well, just share the link to the podcast in the chat now. That's how you get these things around. Just share the link." And I was like, "You're not gonna you will not listen to this podcast, and if you do, it will not be your thing at all. Like,
Oh, are they not the target demographic?
Oh no, definitely not. I mean, they're nerds, but just not the same kind of nerds.
Not the right
as
kind
are.
of nerd.
Yeah, but and she was just like, no, share it. And I was like, okay, yeah, we'll subscribe, we'll share it around. And has our subscriber count gone up by even 1 subscriber since that event? It has not. So if they're listening, I'm calling them out. Hit the subscribe button, follow us on something. I don't know, ding the bell.
Yeah, if Ethan doesn't see a comment, not a public comment. If Ethan doesn't receive like a Discord message about this call out, then we'll know. We're on to you.
Know. I mean, it'll take a while, but we'll know.
Yeah, you've got time. You've got plenty of time to subscribe, hit the bell.
So, like I say, I thought I had a group of friends, but
well, I'm just glad. I thought you were going to say that like you had a group of friends that you were playing Dead by Daylight with.
I was playing Dead by Daylight with this.
Yeah, and then they all abandoned you.
I'm going to sneeze. Bear with me.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh no, it didn't come.
Oh
man, that's so annoying.
Torture.
I thought you were going to say... like it was going to be a real satisfying one as well. Sorry.
Oh no, it's just going to build up within you. Well, I thought you were going to say that your friends abandoned you in Dead by Daylight because you couldn't fix that mouse issue that you had.
Oh no, I've given up on trying to fix that one. I basically permanently have 2 mice plugged into my computer at this point.
Yeah, and just use the one with the lower whatever it was. It wasn't DPI, but whatever it was that you needed.
Poll rate, I think.
Poll rate, yeah. And speaking of other things that you couldn't fix, last week, I think you fixed one of them, right?
I have, yeah. Purely by chance, because it just annoyed me so much that I was just kind of.
Did it finally get you?
In spare moments,
the feeling?
I was just flicking through random settings on Nova Launcher, trying to see if there was anything that might be causing it.
Yeah,
and I found it.
Oh, thank God.
So basically, let me try and remember where it was.
Because I know that feeling of like, you know, when something annoys you, but it's like not annoying enough for you to put in the effort to fix it until it is.
It's because it's something that I don't use very frequently, but every time I use it and it doesn't work, it like wastes about 10 seconds of my day.
Yeah, I'm starting to have that with my phone Bluetooth connecting automatically to my car. It's been like the last few days, it's been real slow to connect, and then the other evening, it didn't connect at all without a manual intervention. And I'm like, if this happens every morning and every evening on my commute, I'm gonna have to do a deep dive into figuring that out.
Do you think it's your car or your phone?
I suspect car, which makes it more difficult to do anything about. Because my phone pairs fine with like other things like headphones.
I think my first protocol would just be forget the device on both things. And
that was my next plan. The thing is, I can't remember what the default code was for the car.
Doesn't it just show it on screen?
I can't remember. I can't remember if I had to look it up in the manual or something. To be honest, it's like a 5-minute job, but it hasn't annoyed me enough for me to do that yet. But like, we're only about 3 or 4 days in, so I think next week, if it continues, that's gonna tip me over the edge if that continues.
This is a total tangent, but I have the exact opposite problem.
The phone won't stop.
Yeah, which is like I don't know if I've spoken about this on the podcast before. But obviously I've got my car that I'm Bluetooth paired to, but I sometimes borrow my dad's car, which is a Hyundai Kona Electric.
Very nice.
Yes, very nice. And the Bluetooth in that car is so fucking needy. It basically seems to me that it's basically polling for every single device that's saved in its Bluetooth settings all the fucking time.
Is this the Kona?
Yeah. So basically, when I have to, every time I borrow the car, when I've stopped borrowing the car, I have to remove my phone from the Bluetooth on that in the car.
Oh.
Because otherwise, every time it gets in range, it pairs to my phone instantly. And I'm talking like if my dad pulls onto the driveway and I'm in the kitchen listening to music, suddenly the music will stop. I look up, look, there's my dad on the driveway. Yeah, it's suddenly paired to the car. It's just like, and if I just remove it from my phone, I'll get a notification that interrupts everything saying, Kona is trying to pair with this device. Would you like to pair? It's just like, constant. It's so bad that once, the worst scenario that I've had of it, I was once on the motorway driving and I was coming back from somewhere. My mum and dad were coming back from somewhere completely different, and I saw them in my rear view mirror, like a few cars behind me.
Oh my god.
As we were approaching the junction where we get off. So I rang them and was like, "Hey, I could see you, ha ha ha!" And when we were talking, and then a few cars like overtook me, and they became the car behind me, and then suddenly the call just cut out, and I was going, "What the fuck is going on? What's happened?" And then it was basically my phone had gone, "Oh well, this device is trying to pair with me. I guess I'll switch to that." Even though it was already in a call paired to my car, and then it just decided to pair to the coder because the coder had just been going, "Hey, do you want to pair? Do you want to pair? Come on, guys. Do you want to pair? Do you want to pair? Come on, connect to me.
That's quite
Connect."
funny.
It's just like, why does it need just like? I don't understand why who wrote that piece of software that like, yeah, you want it to connect straight away, but maybe just do that when the car first starts. Or when you first turn the infotainment screen on, then pend, and then if nothing's connected, then poll for device. But if something's already connected, or the car's been driving for I don't know, for like a couple of hours, the chances are that you're not going to be pairing and wanting to pair a new device, and if you do, you'll be doing it manually. Like
the funniest thing is, my car is a Hyundai. And it's an older one, obviously, than the Kona.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if, like...
Do you think it was like a major issue and they've just overcorrected?
Yeah, they're like, oh, sometimes we're a bit slow for the Bluetooth devices to connect. Well, we'll show you guys. We'll connect when you're driving near the car. Yeah. We'll connect when someone... To be honest, I think the more annoying part of that would have been the fact that, like, your dad would hear your music. And, like,
I don't think it does
that.
though, because if the stereo's off, it doesn't automatically switch it to Bluetooth audio, or if he was listening, my dad tends to listen to like 5 Live in the
so he's not got like his own.
He's oblivious to the fact. It's just like like it happens to my mum all the time. Because obviously my mum and dad share that car, so it happens. My mum when she'll often be in the kitchen when my dad gets home from work, and she usually is she listens to a lot of like Radio 4 and stuff and podcasts and things. So she'll be listening to that and suddenly her phone will just pause. Oh, well, she thinks it's paused or just stopped working, and it's because it's just paired to the car. So it's the Bluetooth range on it is insane as well, because like sometimes it happens like before my dad is even on the driveway. It happens when he's like still a few houses away. It's
you should follow him one day
insane.
with your phone paired to it.
Yeah, it's got to be like 30 meters or something.
Oh my god, you could
like I feel like you could solve the problem by just making the Bluetooth pairing thing really low energy, so it only kind of will reach out within kind of the interior of the car, or like a few feet around it or something. I feel that would be the solution.
Or what you could do is instead play to the advantage it has and like follow your dad around it like a distance with your phone paired to it.
Just randomly play music he hates.
Yeah, but I think randomly play like no, not music, 'cause that's too obvious, but play like have like a soundboard or something on your phone.
It's like what? Yeah, popped tire sound effect or something. Like a really squeaky wheel bearing or something.
Yeah, or like I'm trying to think what you could do with like with like a battery overheating warning sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like
I tell you what,
Hyundai
do like their bings and bongs. There's so many. They're like,
you should play bings and bongs from a different car.
No, that would. I don't know. I honestly don't. My dad's not a detail person. I honestly don't think he'd notice that it wasn't the right ones.
No, I think go with the sound effects.
I mean, literally every time you turn it on, so it has a like a startup noise because it's electric to kind of like tell you, "Hey, you've turned me on." That sounds wrong, but anyway. But it's like you press the start button and it's like diddle-doom, diddle-doom. Like something like that, but then it instantly will start doing it's like diddle-doom, diddle-doom, bing, bing, bing. I don't know what that one means. I think it might be your seatbelt's not on or something, or like someone in the car's not going to. It's like every fucking time, like it's just like it cycles through a couple of warning chimes, and it's not just the code. Like basically, you can tell, like if you ever watch like a more kind of vlog style car review of any Hyundai, they all fucking do it. And Kias as well. They all do the exact same thing. It's just like Why? Just stop making noises at me. It also has an annoying habit of if the aircon was on at all, or the HVAC system was on at all last time you drove it, you'll start the car and it'll just full send it to max fans.
Just to like get it back to where it was as soon as possible.
Max fans and everything. It's so annoying. Great car otherwise. Like, it's a really solid car. I'm not shitting on Hyundai. They're definitely, like, in terms of value for money EVs, especially on the second-hand market, Hyundai Kona and the Kia e-Niro, fucking solid cars. Very few things that annoy me about them. That is one of them. The other is the lane departure assist. But fortunately, there's a button. It turns it on every time you start the car, but there's a button to your right that you can just press and turn it off. So you don't have to dig through a menu. But other than that, solid.
Yes, Hyundai. So I think you should just play the startup sound, but make it loop and get faster each time.
Yeah. What were we talking about before we started talking about
Yes, you were talking about your Nova Launcher.
Oh, Nova Launcher, that was it.
It finally pissed you off enough to fix it for good.
Yeah, so basically, there's a setting for the search. There's like a privacy setting that basically tells the keyboard or blocks the keyboard from being able to see what you put in the search box.
Oh, interesting. So is it a privacy setting so someone couldn't see the apps that you've searched? Or is it a privacy setting for the keyboard? Because I thought you were using Futo. I
am using Futo, but it does the exact same behavior on Google Gboard as well. So it's basically, I think it's a bug. But basically, yeah. So it's called private keyboard. Request keyboard not to track what is typed. Not all keyboards and apps respect this.
Oh, so it's like a kind of global keyboard setting. That should apply to like whatever keyboard you're using from the sound of it, and then like if they follow whatever standard that is that they're using.
But for some reason, when that's turned on, the text appears in the search box. But for some reason, when that's turned on, it just doesn't search for anything.
Yeah, that's weird. I guess because it's like maybe the same setting is like prevents it from reading app names or something.
Well, no, because it's not the keyboard that's doing that. Like, if the text has got into the field, that's entirely on Nova Launcher to do the search the index and everything, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess
it's nothing to do with it. The keyboard has actually put the text in the box, so that's got to be a bug.
Well, my guess is that the reason that it exists is that, like, as in, it's obviously like a bug, but like the reason that it's bugged out is because, like, I'm gonna guess Nova can't see what apps you've got installed or can't parse the list of them without that permission. Yeah.
Maybe.
Like, however it does it requires like that permission to like read the names of your.
But I'm using Nova. I'm using Nova anyway, which doesn't not Nova. Futo keyboard as discussed.
Still so it doesn't matter.
So it doesn't matter. So I just turned that off anyway. It was on by default. I didn't turn that on. So.
Oh, interesting. So like, it's cool that was on by default.
Yeah.
It's always
so
nice
there must have been an update, and then
that enabled it by
because
default,
it was fine the first few days I was using Nova Launcher, and then I never turned that on. Or
I blame. I bet that wasn't them that updated that. I bet that was like a Android update, maybe.
Well,
that feels like
we may never know, Kieran, and it also may never be patched because, unfortunately, the first time I've ever started using Nova Launcher, which was a few weeks ago, this week has been some rather unfortunate news regarding Nova Launcher.
Oh no, what's happened?
So I don't know the full details. I just heard this on another podcast I listened to called Destination Linux. I would recommend checking it out, by the way. Pretty good podcast. Not like super nerdy in depth I mean, it does go in depth, but it's just a good way of keeping in touch with what's going on in the Linux world and stuff.
Cool.
And kind of entertaining as well. So I would recommend. Anyway, they were talking about it because basically it did have a team of 12 developers, and
is it like paid developers or like volunteers on a
paid
GitHub?
Developers? It was owned by a company. It got bought.
Were they a well-known company or were they?
I don't know who it was. They didn't say who it was owned by, but basically that team is now the original developer of the Nova Launcher.
Oh, are they still owned by the company or are they like now independent again?
I don't know, not clear. But
Something's
basically,
there's
only one developer, and from what I understood, patches and particularly like updates, but they were already few and far between.
Oh.
And now there's only one developer. So
How come the patches were so few? I mean, I guess 12 developers isn't a lot for but like I'm sure there's community ones that get more than that. I guess you don't know what was going on behind the scenes, do you? What else they were working on?
Yeah. So yeah, so Nova Launcher might be not long for this world, which is a shame because I mean it is. I mean, my experience of it, other than that bug, it's really good. I'd say.
Is it open source?
It's not, but that's something that they were talking about on the podcast. They were saying it probably should just be open sourced at this point.
It makes sense now because you're not worried about people forking it, are you? If like no one's actively developing it anyway.
If like someone will make an open source version if it disappears, I'm sure.
Well, I think that sounds like a prime one for obviously, I don't know the details.
I
was Lewis to buy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That was my first.
Yeah, they've already got
like,
the keyboard. Why not?
Should like full on just buy because it also is already like very privacy focused.
Yeah, and like they could. I feel like it wouldn't. I don't know how much these kind of things cost. Like I couldn't even guess. But like, I feel like considering the resources he says that he's got, like
he claims,
it wouldn't be a huge, allegedly. You wouldn't have thought it would be a massive.
Yeah, and also they are like Futo's whole model is paid for.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's quite well liked within the kind of
it's like the
similar community.
It's the default like custom. It's got 1.2 million reviews on the Google Play Store currently.
Wow.
With an average of 4 stars.
Maybe Lewis doesn't want to buy it because he knows as soon as he does, they'll take it down for DOS violations on the Google Play Store, allegedly. Not that they would do something like that.
Yeah, and if you go to data safety, this app may share these types of data with third parties. Location and app information and performance. Okay, so that's not quite what I was expecting.
That's not great, is it? Location?
Location and app information and performance, yeah.
And that's third parties as well, not just the company.
It says may. This app may collect these types of data, app activity and information and performance. Data is encrypted in transit. I wonder whether that's because I'm using the free version. Maybe the Prime version doesn't.
Do you get ads?
Because on the no.
There's no ads on it then?
No. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so if you go onto the paid version, it says no data shared with third parties, no data collected. App doesn't provide any way to delete data because it doesn't collect any data.
Oh yeah, of course. Which I guess is like the Futo model anyway, right? Theirs is like, although I know they're not they're kind of more pay what you want, kind of thing. But yeah, I think that sounds like a prime one for them to buy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I was considering getting the Prime version until I heard this news, and I'm kind of like, well, I might just be throwing my money into a hole at this point.
Yeah, so if it's going to get bought out and someone else,
if it's not going to be continued to develop anyway, my £4 isn't probably less than that after Google takes their cut isn't going to make a difference, is it?
Well, maybe if more people would have said that before this happened.
But I only started using. It's not my fault, Kieran. I only started using it like 4 weeks ago.
If only you'd fixed that bug sooner. If only that bug would have pissed you off enough sooner that you'd have fixed it and paid for it. No, we wish them well.
I really hope someone like Futo does buy it.
Yeah, that'll be like the best possible outcome, because otherwise some scumbag's going to buy it, aren't they?
Yeah.
Allegedly,
I do wonder. Let's do a little bit of live research. Who owns Nova Launcher?
Because I'm curious whether it was like a massive company that just bought it. Kind of like how Google bought, I forget which keyboard it was.
Android Police. There's an article here from 2022. Okay, so 2022.
Do we believe Android Police?
I don't know.
Just something about that name sounds a bit.
Have you never seen Android Police before?
No.
They're like they're like an old school like long term like tech news publication sort of thing.
Oh wow, a bit like a kind of Ars Technica or like an Anantech.
Or
more of a like Tom's Hardware.
Not as old as that, but they've been going a long time. I've been like they I don't know if they still do. They did have a YouTube channel at one point. I think they were like a one-man band originally.
Was that one of these that started a YouTube channel because of the success of like NCIX Daily, and then all of these same ones started a YouTube channel?
No, I think he was. I think it was more of just like it started off as just like an Android enthusiast, and then it's kind of just grown from there.
Oh no, I feel bad now for questioning their integrity. Not integrity.
Well,
but,
I mean,
like,
I don't know
questioning their
much about it.
credentials.
So okay, Nova Launcher creator Kevin Barry explains Branch has purchased Nova Launcher basically. I don't know who Branch are.
No, that was kind of like you look them up and it's like we're an online digital ad serving platform.
Today I'm announcing that Branch has acquired Nova Launcher. Branch. Go to there. Branch. All channels lead to you. Flawless mobile linking and attribution.
Oh no. Oh no, that sounds...
Increases the value of organic. Create,
no.
manage, and measure links without the need for developer resources to ensure your customers are converting.
Oh no,
the return on investment on paid.
Uh-oh.
Accelerate your digital transformation.
Why did they buy an Android launcher? Oh no.
Diversification.
That sounds like the opposite
of privacy. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It does.
That absolutely sounds like, oh, we'll get a user base to install.
So I take it all back. Good riddance, Nova Launcher.
Oh,
Fuck you
God.
all.
Is that really what they were doing then? Were they like, oh, we'll get an install base of free users? And
so
then,
it turns out Ethan's being unwittingly selling all his data, giving away all his data.
I could be wrong. They might not be doing that, but otherwise, why would they have bought them?
Well, just to diversify, because they said.
But they can't be making that much money from it. I don't know. That sketches me out a bit. Well, hopefully your data's fine.
Well, I mean, Google was already stealing anyway.
Well, exactly. Google was. I'm saying all this like it's.
Sorry, I mean consensually requesting it because consensually collecting it because I totally had a choice to consent or not consent.
Yeah,
yeah.
I what was I going to say? I found that quite funny that I was like criticizing Branch for it, and that is literally the exact same stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
And probably more that Google will be collecting. So yeah, I take it all back.
Okay, yeah, we're back being bullish about it, but still, Nova Launcher, I hope it does. If it's not already, I hope it does get picked up by someone and continued, because it's been a way for people to customize their. It's been like the default recommendation if you want a custom launcher if you're not happy with the existing launcher on your Android phone. Criticism I've heard of it is it's only available through Play Store, which basically means if you're running if you're running Lineage OS or Graphene OS, which are both Android distributions that are by default don't have any of the Google Play services.
I'm surprised there's no way to get it outside of the Play Store.
I mean, there's probably some dodgy ways of doing it. I'm sure someone has an APK for it that may or may not be legitimate.
Yeah, I guess you're running risks then, don't you? Just putting random APKs on your phone.
Yeah, but it'd be cool if it was, say, put on the F-Droid store, for example. Or
yeah, exactly. Or like it's a way that you knew at least you were likely to be getting the real version of it, not someone's dodgy APK, or worse, someone's version of it that's also repackaged with something else.
Yeah, totally. Dave's totally legit Android APKs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a wild world out there. You can't be too careful. Don't go installing random APKs on your phone, kids.
No.
Only install what you need. Maybe Apple was right. Walled garden. Only one
control
app
everything.
Store. Control everything.
Yeah, there's no dodgy apps on the Apple App Store.
Only let the company that made the hardware exploit the user. That's the solution.
Key thing. Under the guise of privacy protection, by protecting you from everyone else, allegedly.
Yeah.
Look, we don't let Facebook track you.
Yeah, only us.
Yeah, look.
Look, we've got a privacy sandbox. Look, we put this cute little icon at the top of your screen when your camera's being used or your microphone's being used.
Yeah, and
You can trust us.
Yeah, we stopped Google collecting your data.
Well,
speaking of other stuff, you go back to.
Find new ways to search with the Google app for iPhone.
I saw someone credibly say that they thought that no, that was it. It was funnier than that. It was I was watching something about the Google monopoly thing that I think we talked about last week.
We did, yeah,
before. Yeah. And someone was saying that apparently I not heard this, so I don't know if or like I've not seen the citation for this, but apparently Microsoft offered Apple Bing for free.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah, where did
that they could have Bing as no, it wasn't for free. It was they would pay Apple 100% of the revenue.
I think they tried to sell it to Apple, and then they would say they give Apple 100% of the revenue just for it to be the default. They were so desperate. They're just like, we'll give you all the money that we're totally making with Bing search.
It was so funny because they were like, Google give them like 20% of revenue, I think it is, in exchange for being the default. Microsoft were like, we'll give you, if you just use us, if you use Bing instead of Google, we'll give you 100%. And I think Apple worked it out, and that like, because Microsoft's ad tech isn't as good, I think they worked out that Microsoft would have to pay them 120% of ad revenue.
The way I heard it was that basically Apple said that there was no value high enough that Microsoft could pay them because Bing is just an inferior search product. Yeah, they were basically just black and white, just like, sorry, Microsoft, Bing is shit, so we're going to carry on using Google.
Yeah, I think it was one executive said like,
I bet it was Craig Federighi with his
Federighi,
beautiful, thick, luscious locks.
He came out of the salon, and he said Microsoft could not.
That man doesn't go to a salon. He just wakes up like that.
Yeah, he climbed out of bed with his perfectly coiffed hair, and he said, there is no. He rang up Satya. And he said, there is no amount of money in the world that you could pay us for us to switch from Google because your search engine sucks.
Yeah, basically.
I just find it funny though that they were like, you would.
They
have
basically
to pay us.
Threw themselves at Apple, and Apple were like, nah,
and Apple were like, they were
I'm
like,
good.
they were like, you would have to pay us more than you make from our users for it to be able to like. A better investment than we get from Google giving us just 20%, which is insane. And I don't know if you saw as well, but there was a thing about Google ran an experiment where they changed the default search engine for some Apple users, or they served them results or something from Bing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that. I thought that was crazy.
I didn't see that. I heard that I know there was some talk in the court documents that basically Google had run an experiment that basically determined that they could. It didn't really matter what changes they made to Google, people would just carry on using Google.
Yeah, and I think it was that they had a small percentage, like a very small percentage of like iPhone users that they temporarily like served Bing as the default, I think.
Yeah.
Or it was something like they served them results from Bing. I don't quite know how it worked, but yeah, and then they were like they couldn't tell. Or however they determined that they couldn't tell. I guess that they just still used the search in the same way. But I found
because I mean, they probably just were like, well, I mean, it's Google, so this must be the best search results.
I'm curious how they decided on that bucket of users, though, because if they gave you Bing...
I mean, I just assumed that Google hadn't found the thing I was looking for and then just try a different search engine.
I meant as in, like, if you like went to your home search engine and it was Bing...
I'd be like, ugh.
You'd be like, what the hell's happening? Did you ever take that
Sorry,
test?
guys, I'm going to hurl.
Did you ever take that test where they saw which one you preferred? It was Microsoft that did it. They were like, you might be surprised how much you like Bing. And it was like, you did like...
I think you'd be surprised just how much I'd really like rather not use Bing or Google, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, that was the thing. There was no third option in that. But it gave you like
at least
two.
Google, used to give me useful search results.
Well, yeah, not so much. Now you get the AI preview.
Yeah, I mean, I've that's not even affected me because I genuinely just like the amount. I very, very, very rarely use the Google search engine. It's like, yeah, I most of the time I'm using Ecosia. If I can't find it on Ecosia, then I go DuckDuckGo, and then if I can't find it on DuckDuckGo, I go Google.
Yeah. To be fair, if you're asking...
and then Bing in that order.
Yeah.
And then if I'm really desperate, ask Jeeves. Ask Jeeves isn't even a search engine. It still exists, but it's not a search engine anymore. It's just like a forum.
Is it a forum now? Yeah.
Well, it tried to be.
Some kind of weird web directory, I think it was the last time I looked, which is very strange. But I find I find it interesting on the like Google thing where now it's just like it'll just guess any kind of question. It'll just be like, here's an AI guess at what it is.
I'm wearing the fact that I've had no experience with this as a badge of honor.
Yeah, that's pretty cool because it's been out in the UK for a little while now, so it's pretty good that you've not had any.
I think we tried to test it, didn't we, when it was still in beta?
we did the search generative experience test by doing the VPN to US.
Oh hey Gemini, get the best experience with the new Google Pixel 9 Pro. Have you been getting those adverts?
I don't get ads anymore.
True. Yeah, I keep getting one for Vodafone where it's like, get the Google Pixel 9 Pro. Oh hey Gemini. It's like they try to rhyme it. It's like, oh my god. It's like,
what? No.
It's like
that's so cringe.
It is so cringe.
Why do they do that?
I don't know.
Oh my god, that's literally. I've heard it once and I never want to hear it again in my life. And it wasn't even the actual ad, it was you doing it.
I'm going to make it my ringtone for when you call me.
What was it? So what is it?
It's like, oh, hey, Gemini.
But what's it rhyming with? Like,
I think it's trying to rhyme hey with Gemini 9.
That's
Gemini,
a terrible blunder.
I fuck knows. I don't know.
It's pointless anyway because they're going to rename Gemini soon because it'll have a bad reputation.
Oh, well, do you know what? God's Gift to Man, Marquez Brownlee.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's just really spoiled my day hearing about that. Right,
released his review.
Someone got paid to write that.
The Pixel 9, Pixel 9 Pro and Pixel 9 Pro Fold. I think
is that the one where he said like it was almost perfect or something in the thumbnail?
Yeah, he did the video that came out on the when it was released.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet, but I think it was some.
And then his review came out today, I think it was, which I watched.
Oh right.
I watched today, and he was talking about Gemini basically being it's basically now it's going to replace Google Assistant. So you know how currently in Android you kind of like swipe from one of the corners and it will bring up the assistant.
Or you do hey.
Or
word.
Hey Boogle.
Hey Frugal.
Hey Bugle.
Do you remember that? Probably not. You're too young to remember Frugal.
Isn't Frugal? Isn't he one of the?
No, it was what Google Shopping used to be called when they first launched it.
Oh.
As in like Frugal, but it was spelled like Google.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Then they rebranded it to Google Shopping, but that's what
I'm still. I ain't got my first wrinkles yet, so. That's not true.
Back in my day.
Yeah, Grandad Kieran over here is all.
Yeah, back before they launched the Sans Serif logo.
Basically, they've replaced that gesture anyway, which is turned off on my phone. They've replaced that gesture now triggers Gemini instead. But interestingly, if you press the microphone on the Google search widget that's permanently located at the bottom of your screen
because your Android manufacturer wanted to use the Play Store.
Yeah. If you press that, it still goes to the Google Assistant. So it's almost like what Samsung did with Bixby, apart from what I understand, it's actually good. It was a little rocky when it first came out. It couldn't do basic things like set timers, but now it does do that. But interestingly, whenever you ask it to do one of those functions, a little Google Assistant icon appears next to the Gemini icon, which is like. So basically, I think it's just Gemini's basically going, Dad, can you do this?
Is there a delay on it? Like it's having to try, or it just does it instantly?
It just does it instantly. But it's a weird move, right? Though, like because Marquez raised that, and I kind of agree with him. It's like weird. Why are they telling people like, hey, yeah, Gemini can't do this? Like they could totally have just got away with just not. Why does that assistant thing need to even appear? Is it? Yeah. It's almost like they're trying to say. It's almost like they're hedging their bets, like saying, hey guys, don't worry about this Gemini thing because like Google Assistant still exists. It's still there. Look, we're using it right now.
They can't.
It's like
Why do they
Google.
have to fuck
Why
up
can't
every
Google?
exam?
Why can't Google ever commit?
Why do they have to fuck up every single like thing that they brand or name?
I don't know.
It's
They're
like
they're almost as bad as Microsoft. I think Microsoft and
Yeah.
Google are like having some kind of points race. So, like see how many new ideas that might have ended up being good they can just pile drive into the ground like
or like
horrendously.
doing the Microsoft thing where everything has like a different name to it, but they're all like similar and you forget which ones are which, like they did with Skype.
Yeah,
And like, they've done
Skype,
with, like, a million other
Skype for
things.
Business, Teams, and Teams.
Yeah, it's like personal
Oh,
teams.
sorry,
commercial
what's
teams.
it called now? No, it's People. They've changed it to People.
Yeah,
But only in Windows 10 and that no Windows 11. And if you're talking to someone who's running Windows 10, then it's still Teams.
Microsoft are worse.
But it's not
actually.
the same Teams. It's not the same Teams as like that can't talk to Teams for Business. You have to use a different Teams app for that. Yeah.
Yeah, in hindsight, Microsoft are worse. I was setting up some.
I used Teams this week.
Yeah.
At the end of last week, I had a call that I had to do on Teams, and I thought, oh, I heard that they like integrated it so it's just one app now. But no, when I click the link, it launches the Business Teams app, and then it tells me that I've got an update, and I click download update, and it takes me to a fucking website to download the update. I'm like,
Oh my god,
Microsoft.
that's
Like, how have you not got an integrated updater?
your OS.
How long has fucking Teams been out at this point? Like,
and it's probably
there's so
calling
many
some,
like OBS updates itself without you having to download a new installer. Like
Discord does.
Discord, like, well, I mean, Discord's not really an app at this point; it's just a glorified web browser. But like,
Chrome does.
like everything does. Like, how is it
Yeah.
this shit still? It's like it was out before we were testing it at work in 2018, and then it became popular for some fucking reason in 2020 because of some little virus or something. But
Even Zoom does it.
like how is it still this bad? And how are there two? What they had one version of it, and then they made another version, and then
It's like I had to set up a
understand.
bunch of I had to set up some Microsoft email config.
Oh, sorry, I've got
last
one more
week.
rant point. You can't
go on.
change your fucking audio settings before you start the call unless you're signed into a business account.
Oh, that
And
sucks.
you-
You can
like,
do that
you
even on the
can't-
web interface.
You can't sign in. You can't sign in with a regular Microsoft account. It has to be a business account if you're using the business Teams. And you can't use a personal Teams to join a business meeting thing.
Oh my god.
So if you're joining something from home for say a job interview, which wasn't just to be clear, that's not what I was doing. Don't get any ideas, anybody who might be listening to this. I promise it wasn't a job interview. It was another thing. But like, you know, like what the fuck, Microsoft? Just make it one fucking product. It's not
Yes.
even like I pay for my personal Microsoft account. Like I give you money. How are you how are the things that I give you my money for still so shit? I've paid you like probably more than I paid for my Windows license at this point, just in Office 365 subscriptions.
That is literally
Sorry.
the kind of thing where if that would have been someone would have done that with an Apple product, they'd have been thrown off the roof.
Yeah. I need to
And like everyone
I need
that
to
signed
calm
off on
down.
that decision would have been thrown off the roof with them.
Yeah.
And they just wouldn't have had it. Yeah, I was doing a bunch of Microsoft email config last week,
Yeah.
and I had to look up a Microsoft help article, and it was like 4 different things all called like Exchange something.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, if you've got Exchange this, or if you've got a different Exchange, or if you've got Exchange for Business, then it's all different. Like the config options.
Yeah,
are
there's
different.
like exchange for business, exchange for enterprise,
Exchange on premises.
on-prem, Microsoft 365, Microsoft 2016, Microsoft 2019, Microsoft.
And I was like, which one of these freaking guides do I follow?
Yeah,
then,
and why
like,
are they all so fucking different when they're just supposedly the same product, but
Yeah.
with a different license or hosted locally or hosted in Linux? I mean, sorry, what? No, and why is it not compatible with Linux when the entire backend is running on Linux?
It's so stupid. And I was like, hang on a minute, all of these guides are different, but they're all called the same product. Why don't they have? If the products are all different, why would you call them all Exchange something? Because now I don't know and why are they so different?
Yeah.
And sometimes there's some features that you can't use in some versions.
It honestly feels like with some of these things that they're just changing things arbitrarily.
Yeah, they're like, we want to unify the brand.
It needs to be different so that people can see that it's a new version. So we'll just change this where this setting is or how you do this setting for no reason, even though it was totally working.
It's like why they renamed like Hotmail to Outlook.
Yeah.
It's like Hotmail was the personal one, and it was very, and now it's like, oh, it's Outlook, but it's the Outlook Online thing instead of Outlook, which used to be your email client.
Yeah, and also now there's the new Outlook and also the not shit Outlook.
Is the new Outlook the one called Mail?
No, it's oh no, Mail's. I think Mail still exists. Yeah, the Mail app also exists, but there's also Outlook New that comes reinstalled. I think it's literally called Outlook brackets New.
They used to call it like.
But it's just a web. It's a glorified. It's just it's a web app. It's just it runs through Edge, but in one of those like same as when you put a bookmark.
Like Copilot.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, what a fucking mess. Just like, just make one. Just pick one.
Just stop.
Like, and then they wonder why no one adopts it. Like, because it's so fucking confusing. That's why. Like, no one knows which one they should use, so they just use none of them. I'm a techie and I don't fucking know what any of it. It changes every 5 seconds.
Yeah, I was the same reading through these guides. I was like, why are they all different? And then it couldn't detect that I was signed into the admin account, even because I was signed in as a user, even though the account was the same as the admin account. It was like it was 2 separate accounts, but they had the same.
Yeah, but then you have to go to the admin portal.
Yeah, you have to go to the admin portal, which is a separate thing.
Then it's a completely separate domain and everything, and you can't even jump between the two, and you have to sign in again.
They're 2 separate windows. Yeah, because I was like, but it's the same. I'm logged in as the admin user.
A pain in the ass.
Yeah. Anyway, we we hate it all.
All of this and more is why I am once again running PopOS on my laptop.
I was going to say the one thing that you don't hate. You're back to good old PopOS. Where did you come from? You came from.
So I've tried a couple of things. So originally my laptop, my current laptop, the one that I've bastardized in my latest video with that's not come out yet, but by repairing it in an incredibly beautifully jank way. It was originally running Windows 10 Pro. I wanted to start testing some Linux distros on the bare metal again, and
hot bare metal distros.
Yeah, and the main thing that I would run into issues with in not running Windows on a PC is some of the games that I play not running in Linux. But my laptop, I don't use my laptop for gaming anyway, unless I'm remoting onto using Parsec or Steam Remote Play, because it's not got a discrete graphics card or anything. It's purely a a supplemental device to my gaming rig and workstation.
It's what I would call a modern day netbook.
I think that's a bit of an insult to it. It's got plenty of horses.
Okay, what's it? What's that thing that replaced netbooks? That they call them now ultralights, but it's not ultra light.
But it is ultra cheap.
Ultra heavy.
Yeah, it's perfectly. It can do plenty of stuff. It can video edit. It can do some light video editing and stuff. It's basically
It's like a Mac Pro.
It's like the base. No, it's more like the base MacBook Pro. If Apple had carried on using Intel instead of switching to Apple Silicon, basically. I mean, because that's basically in terms of hardware, that's what it is. It's like i7 1165G 7, I think, something like that.
It's a Mac Lite.
Yeah, but apart from made of plastic and very cheap and
well, that's why it's light.
Anyway, we're going on a massive tangent. It was originally running Windows 11 Pro. I tried Linux Mint briefly. Then I really wanted, ever since I tried Manjaro before I heard some not so great things about it, I've really liked or at least the look of the KDE Plasma desktop environment for Linux, which it's kind of like it's kind of a Windows-alike style
less
but
dated looking than the other Windows
but
wipes.
it's got all the transparency effects and everything, and it's super customizable. There's tons of like applets and widgets you can get for it. It just looks quite modern. It's not perfect, like the settings. Whilst everything is in one settings menu, which is good, Microsoft take note, it is a mess, much like Microsoft's and Apple's and everyone's settings menu seems to be these days. Especially Samsung. Samsung's is awful. I don't understand why they
dump.
I don't understand why Samsung don't just use the default Android settings app, because it's so theirs is so much worse. I don't know if you've ever had to go into, but I was trying to find something basic. I think I was trying to find storage. My mum was saying that she thought her phone's storage was full, and she's got like an A54 or whatever the fuck. And so on regular Android, you open it up, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sixth item down is storage. You tap on it, and it tells you, 38 gigs of your storage is being used by audio. 31 is used by apps. System, 15 gig, etc. I could not find that anywhere. I searched everywhere. I couldn't find it. Where is it on Samsung?
Can you search in the settings menu?
Yeah, I searched for it. It doesn't exist.
Oh, weird. Because that's what I always use to search. Because it's like I'll be looking for something and it's like 3 settings in, and that'll just take me straight to it.
Why? Why Samsung? Why can't? Like, what is wrong with the default one that ships with Android? Like everything. Like just I get that you've got some third-party things that you add to Android, but just add those in as options in the default settings thing. Why do you have to break something that works? Why do you have to be different for the sake of it? Anyway. Yeah, I was having some issues with, like, you can just put KDE Plasma, the desktop environment, on virtually any distribution, and there's a handful of different distributions. There's a ton of distributions that use it, and their repos and their package repos and everything, where you get your software from and stuff. Or you can just add it to Mint and stuff like that. But as you know, Kieran, I've had some trouble getting it to work with Mint. As a total Linux noob, but yeah. So I decided, because Mint just looks dated. That's the only reason, really. It just looks dated. It hasn't, mainly because it doesn't have any transparency effects. That's it. Like having. It's amazing how much, like, I don't know. It just makes me feel like I can't explain it, but I hate it.
It's like XP. It makes it look from like an XP clone to like a modern Windows clone.
It's just so dull and boring. I've just got so accustomed to having nice colors and having Windows kind of dynamically change. It's one thing, like aesthetically, I really like Windows 11. It's got a lot of flaws, but it's like on its face, like the desktop, the start menu, and it all. Everything looks quite nice. Functionally, not great in a lot of ways, but
yeah,
it looks very nice. So I just want that, apart from Linux, and that's kind of what KDE is like. So I thought, right, well, I've tried a few different. I don't want to do Manjaro because that's Arch Linux, and also apparent. I think there was some reason, like I think the devs they did some controversial things. The devs of Manjaro or something that was. And I don't want to go Arch based because I'm not a masochist. So
think of the bragging rights, though.
So I mean, there is a distribution called Kubuntu, which is Ubuntu, but rather than using GNOME as a desktop environment, it uses KDE Plasma. So that's an option, but I've heard. Canonical is not exactly in the best graces with the Linux community at the moment for various.
They went a bit Mozilla, didn't they?
Yeah, mainly for privacy-related things, which gives me the ick, and I may as well stick with Windows if I'm going to use an OS that's going to violate my privacy at every turn. So I decided to try KDE Neon, which is KDE's own distribution, using KDE Plasma. But as I already outlined, I think in last episode, I was having just the main issue, to be honest, was that the trackpad settings just weren't showing up. And also Bluetooth, it just wasn't detecting my microphone at all on my headset, or on my headphones. And it's not like I'm using some random Bluetooth headphones. Like I'm using possibly the most popular Bluetooth headphones on the planet right now. The Sony WH-1000 XM4s. Like, it seems like fucking everyone and their mum. They're just like the default. It seems like it. Basically, if you see a YouTuber wearing a pair of Sony headphones, they're probably these ones.
I feel like between us, we have probably 99% coverage of YouTubers who wear headphones. Because I see mine a lot if it's wired.
Yeah.
Because the grey earpads.
Oh, yeah, your what was it? You've got the
Aerodynamic DT770s.
Yeah. So yeah.
You see them a lot as well. So if it's wired, it's generally mine. If it's
you heard
Sony,
it here
it's
first. Me,
yours.
Kieran, and I are vanilla default.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they're popular because they're good. They are the solid headphones, in both cases. So
yeah.
Where was I going? Yeah. So it's not like they're uncommon headphones. Like it's not like I'm using some random one. It's not unreasonable to expect these to work. is the point I'm
if you were
trying
using the random ones, they'd probably work fine.
Yeah. So so that kind of was the final nail in that coffin, and I was like, you know what? PopOS has its flaws. PopShop, in my experience, is kind of shit. Which is the package manager. It just loads really slowly, and it doesn't give much information about the packages, and like Windows Store is better, or Microsoft Store, whatever the fuck it's called.
I'm not saying something.
It's way better. So that's kind of annoying, but not a deal breaker. And it's also just using a modified GNOME desktop, and I'm like, I don't know. It just GNOME has kind of not really changed a whole lot for a very, very long time, and PopOS, which is made by System76, who also make laptops and desktops and stuff. They make their own hardware as well. They are working on a new desktop environment called Cosmic, but it's not going to be coming out for probably at least 6 months or so. They've just released the public alpha for it, so it's going to be a while. They've been working on it for 2 years already, and that I'm super hyped for that.
But that's months away, realistically.
Maybe even like a year or so. But PopOS was very good to me on my MacBook Pro of late. So I decided to go to PopOS, and to be honest, I think I'm going to stick with it.
Good old PopOS. It's won you back.
Yeah, because like I say, it's got a couple of flaws, but pretty much everything works. It's got a couple of quirks, but they're not like deal breaker quirks. Like they'll be like, oh, something doesn't quite work straight. Like for example, my Bluetooth headphones don't always automatically pair, but
they work eventually.
But if I literally just go into the menu and click pair, then they pair straight away. So
it's like what we were talking about last time, where it's like, instead of it being mostly all the impressive stuff that works and then these tiny little things that niggle at you that then eventually piss you off of the operating system, it's like all the major things work well enough that none of them ever tip you over the edge into like, I can't take this anymore. This is a deal breaker.
Yeah. For example, I actually, so I literally got it set up. Over the weekend, I think it was on like Sunday morning, I think I installed PopOS, got OBS installed and Discord, and had it all configured easily to record a D&D session. And it all just worked.
Nice.
And just recorded fine. On Sunday evening. Like it's not flashy, but it just works.
It's not fancy, but it gets the job done.
Yeah. And there are certain things I do really like about it. Like for example, the super key, or Windows key, basically, which is the super key in Linux. You can use it either to launch the App Center or whatever it's called, which is basically, I guess, the closest thing it has to a start menu. Kind of the same. It's kind of more like the app drawer, I guess, on Android. Or the launcher in macOS, if that still exists.
Or the start menu on Windows Surface.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. you can either have it but do that, but by default it just brings up a search box, kind of like, well, very similar to Spotlight used to be on macOS. Apart from you just press the super key, not super key in space, and you literally just type in the app you want to launch or the thing that you want to do and enter. And 99.9% of the time, like within a few keystrokes, the thing you want to do will be the top result, and you just hit enter.
Kind of like how you would use a browser, right? Where you type in like a new, you do like Control T,
So
and then you just type
literally,
like 2
but like
letters.
it's just especially when you're using a laptop, I feel like the ideal OS for me on a laptop is one where I have to take my hands away from the keyboard as little as possible, because using the trackpad, no matter how great the trackpad is, it's always going to be inferior to a physical mouse. I'm sorry, it just is. For pointer related stuff, it's not as good. For gestures, fucking love a trackpad, but it's always going to be less ergonomic and just kind of annoying to use. So like the less things I have to lift my hand off the keyboard and use the trackpad for, the better. And in PopOS, I can power on my computer, type in my password, press the super key, type FI for Firefox, hit enter, type YouTube, hit enter, and I'm on YouTube without having touched the trackpad once. I can even go super key, shut down, enter, and it powers off. Super key, reboot, shut. Like it's just that for me. It's so simple, but it works really well. It works really well.
That's really clean, and it's kind of like intuitive too, because it's in the same way that you'd use like a Windows laptop where you hit like Windows key, type a couple of letters for the app.
To be fair, yeah, it's basically how I use Windows as well. I know loads of people still say that Windows search is really shit. I find that actually, even in Windows 10, I very rarely actually click the application. Most of the time I'm Windows key, like say I want to launch control panel, it's Windows CON control panel, done. That's like, I very rarely actually click on the app icon.
Yeah, the only time it's ever got me is if, like, you know, when you type like one letter wrong because you're doing it too fast, and then you hit enter, and then it's done the web search. That's the only time it.
I've got web search results turned off. That's the difference, I guess.
Nice.
Mine only searches locally. I don't think you could turn that off in Windows 10, but I found that was very rarely an issue. But in Windows 11, you can. So.
I see. I was going to say, because I'm on Windows 10, and I was going to say I don't think if I can turn it off. I was just about to go and look to see if I could. I wouldn't like it to be on.
I don't know if it's that I've turned it off or that in Windows 11 you can uninstall Cortana. So I don't know whether
maybe
that's
one
why.
of the two. But yeah, it's like very rarely happens to me. It's just if you like, it's only on certain key combos too. But you're like, oh, oops, I've accidentally.
Yeah, but to be fair, like
Bing.
To be fair, you know how I'm always hating on Windows 11. My main issues with Windows 11 are on a day-to-day use. Is that certain things that used to be 1 click are now 2 clicks. For example, if you click on the volume icon at the bottom of your screen, it now opens like a little widget tray thing where then the volume and your networking and everything is. So
the like thingy menu, like a tray on the phone.
And it doesn't tell you anywhere what audio device you're currently using, where it used to. That was useful. You now have to click on a little thing next to that to see the audio device you're currently using.
Yeah, it's little things like that.
But it's okay, Kieran, because there is a shortcut that you can use. You can use Windows Shift V, apparently. But
the thing.
I just did that, and it did. Windows Control V. See. Oh wow. Well, that's so intuitive. I knew that without having to open it. I'm totally...
Yeah, you end up doing these ridiculous...
Now I know that, to be fair. I've never noticed that before. So now I know that. I'm probably going to start doing that. But that's not better than before. The whole point of a GUI is that you don't have to remember shortcuts. You can. But, like, networking is the one that really annoys me, to be honest. Like, particularly, not so much on my desktop, but on my laptop. You click the network thing, and it opens this thing. Then you have to click another thing to get into networks. And then I think you even have to click another thing to see Wi-Fi. Why? Same with Bluetooth as well. Like, why? It was better before. It wasn't broken.
Like, it's like, oh, we need to have this unified...
I'm fine with you having a widget panel, but you had a widget panel before at the bottom of the notifications tray. Why couldn't it have stayed there?
It's like every time YouTube changes its layout.
Yeah. And then also you have other buttons for other more different widget panels. Down the bottom, like
Instead of just
keyboard, microphone.
And it's funny because the keyboard one, probably, I'd love to know the percentage of users that do that versus the percentage of users who accidentally do the shortcuts change between two keyboard layouts for like UK and US.
Fuck, it's just so annoying.
There used to be an Adobe one that was similar to that. I forget what it was now, but yeah, and then I'd accidentally change my keyboard layout to US.
Like I said, I'm fine with there being a widget panel, but like if they're gonna do this one widget panel, just include the information. Do it like Android. Android's fucking thing that they've had for ages instead of Control Center like they have on fucking Apple. Where it just like you pull down the notification shade and you have they did make it worse where between I think it was after Android 9 where they made it now so you've just got 4 massive fuck off buttons at the top instead of it used to be 6 small toggles or 8 small toggles, and then it used to be 9 small toggles when you swiped down then on a page, and now it's 8 big buttons. But apart from that, like Android does it really well because you can
do the order of them as well.
You can change the order. So like I have the ones that I use most often. I've got internet, Bluetooth, torch, and auto rotate. And then I swipe down, I've got airplane mode, tail scale, do not disturb, and location.
Yeah, exactly.
That's super useful. That works really well. Do that. Copy that, Windows. Do that.
Yeah, rip that off.
Yeah. Just do that, please.
But meanwhile, you're going to be sticking to PopOS, which I believe you described as plain and workmanlike. Which I think, or something along those lines, which I think is how you would describe our podcast too, right?
Yes, yeah. And
if you want more plain and workmanlike content,
you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Amazon Music, Audible, Deezer, Google Podcasts until August 29th, which may or may not be before or after this podcast goes out.
That will definitely be before this comes out.
But Google might have extended the sunset on that.
Yeah.
Again, YouTube and YouTube Music, you can find a list of the ones that Spotify for podcasters feels like allowing you to provide a link for at podcasters.spotify.com/pod/show/scrambled-checksum. And you can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/@scrambled-checksum, all one word.
We need to get a vanity URL.
Job for another day.
Yeah.
Job for another day. Kieran recently recommended me some a place to get a domain that doesn't allow you to have just a URL that points somewhere without getting hosting. So we can't use that. That's for sure.
I tell you, when you get the hosting there, you're going to be.
He did at least actually use this hosting service before he recommended it to me, though. So kudos for that. At least it's progress.
It is actually something I've used and can firsthand say is good. Yeah. In the meantime, we'll use the goo.gl URL shortener, and then all our links will be dead by 2025.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we'll see you in the next one, and we'll catch you a week on Monday.
We'll see you in our scrambled future.
No!
Call back to the end of
Gemini play Scrambled Checksum.
Yeah,
on Spotify.
Yeah, hey Gemini.
Play Scrambled Checksum on Spotify.
Yeah, hey Gemini, put this fire out that we just started.
Oh, I need to go and puke after saying that.
Gemini is fire. Thank you very much for listening, everybody.
See you in the next one.
It's calm, Kieran. Gemini's calm. Bye-bye!
Bye-bye.